Brought to you by Investment Property Experts, Phoenix, Arizona's only turnkey real estate investment solution. Money Radio 1510 and 105.3 FM.
The views expressed on the following program do not necessarily reflect the views of Money Radio staff, management, or advertisers, and do not represent an offer to buy or sell any securities. Some interviews heard on this program may be sponsored by the participants.
This is Westwood One.
It's time for Health Futures with Cypress HomeCare Solutions, Bob Roth. This is Arizona's only show dedicated to providing you with expert advice on how to live a longer, healthier, and happier life. To learn more, call 602-264-8009. That's 602-264-8009. Now, here's your host, Bob Roth.
Good afternoon. You're listening to Health Futures. I'm your host, Bob Roth, and it is Friday, February 10th, and it's hard to believe we're just moving right along in 2017. And what a great weekend last weekend was in this great state of ours, Arizona. We had the Phoenix Open, and it had an incredible finish, broke all kinds of records. And I did talk about it last week about how they were Chamber of Commerce days, and our community definitely needs those type of Chamber of Commerce days to help build our internal infrastructure and bring money into our economy. So it was very, very good in so many different fronts. And we talked about last week the Super Bowl, and the guests that I had on the show all said that they were in favor of the commercials, and no one really talked about one of the teams, but I will tell you, if you tuned into that Super Bowl, that was some Super Bowl. And Super Bowls, of all Super Bowls, broke all kinds of records. So enough about football and enough about golf. We are here to talk about health futures. And this is the first time you're tuning into the show. This show is about how our older adult population can live a healthier, happier life. And Health Futures is exactly as the name says. We are on radio station Money Radio, and that's 1510 AM, 105.3 FM, and on the World Wide Web at moneyradio1510.com. And it's also about taking stock in you. And how I bring this show about is I bring extraordinary guests to the show. And today is no different. I have 3 extraordinary guests here, and they're all with the same organization. And the leader is sitting right to my right, and somebody I've known for just a few years, Anglea Olea. She is a nurse, and she's CEO of Assisted Living Locators corporate offices. Welcome to the show, Anglea.
Thank you, Bob.
Anglea, it's good to have you on the show. Thank you, too. Angela, good to have you on the show. I'll say it right. I will get it right. I'm thinking of Angelina Jolie or something like that, but I will get it right. So just to her right, my left, is Jaye Ramirez. She is the elder care advisor, and she's also a medical social worker with Assisted Living Locators.
Hi.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And just to her right and my left, sitting on the same side of the desk as me, is Dustin Baker. He's an elder care advisor and former combat medic with Assisted Living Locators. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
It's good to have you on the show, and I want to just give you a shout-out, Dustin. I admire our patriots and those that serve, and you being a war veteran, I want to thank you for your service, and I really appreciate the work that you have done in the past in fighting for our freedom in our country, but I also really appreciate what you do now, because it's right in our wheelhouse, helping those families that are struggling with their older family members and what to do with them. So if you're just tuning into the show, my family owns a home care company, and what we do, we're in our 24th year, we help people stay at home. And we enable them to stay at home by providing extraordinary caregivers. And I'll just throw it out one time. We're always looking for good people. So if you're tuning in and you're listening and you are one of those people, or you have a family member, a friend, a neighbor, someone that's a caring spirit, have them call us at Cypress HomeCare Solutions. We're looking for really good caregivers. 602-264-8009. For those that can't stay at home, assisted living locators is a great option for people, because what you guys do is you help people find new homes. And Angela, I'm going to just pivot over to you. Tell us a little bit about assisted living locators and what do you guys do?
Thank you, Bob. Assisted living locators, we've been around the Valley for over 13 years, and what I like to give an analogy of what it is that we do, we're like the eHarmony for seniors and their families and caring providers. And so we match make the people who are looking for care with quality options in the Valley, from Alzheimer's, assisted living, to independent living, or small care homes that can provide that 24-hour care. And our service is free to the senior and their family, and we're compensated by the properties that are within our network.
And that is such a key point. I want you to repeat that last statement, because a lot of people don't realize that the compensation, I'll repeat it for you, the compensation is by the locations that these wonderful families you work with, they pay on behalf of getting those people into their places, so that when you're out there trying to find homes for people, there is no charge to them, correct?
That is correct. Our services are free to the families who are seeking, so that's not one of the hurdles that they have to worry about. We take consideration of, it's a 4-step process that we do when working with families. We do an in-depth assessment of their needs, and we want to get to know them in person or by phone. And then we provide a thoughtful analysis or recommendations based on their unique circumstances. And we look at what their budgetary requirements are, what are their health care needs, what is their family support, what type of socialization that they're looking at. So we look at a whole spectrum. And then we provide assisted selection in their area, taking that into consideration, and we help facilitate that transition. And it's one of the again, it's a free assessment that we do, and providing those options. So we handhold working with the families, walking them through the entire process.
And you said one of the things that you go through, and it's a very important one that we all must go through with the clients that we serve, is you have to have that conversation about the money, because you've got to really make sure that they can afford where they're going, because this stuff isn't free. And, one of the things we talk about here on the show is we talk about how we need to help our older adults plan for retirement, plan for, that rainy day. And unfortunately, they're only free to those people that can't, that don't have. And I'm talking about our All-Tex clients, and the All-Tex being Arizona Long-Term Care Services, which is through our state's Access program, which is our state's Medicaid. And, if you don't have that, then you have to have money to be able to go into these places and be able to find the right location. You need to have that discussion up front right away.
Yep, you're absolutely right. We do look at that. That's part of the assessment that we do when working with the families. We are looking at how long will their funds last, making sure that the selection, that they have informed choices, so that they know exactly what they're looking at for the long term, and that so they don't have to make a move again if their funds deplete. And hopefully if they've pre-planned, that's not an issue. And we love, that long-term care insurance. And when people have properly planned for that, that makes that decision a lot easier for the families.
Well, I also loved how you described it like eHarmony. I mean, it really is. I mean, you've got to be able to, put a square peg in a square hole, or a round peg in a round hole. I mean, you want to make sure it's a good fit for that person that has those needs, whether they be Alzheimer's, dementia needs, Parkinson needs, or whatever their challenges are that they're dealing with.
Yeah, my background as a nurse, the foundation of how we started the in-depth assessment is we really do take all of that into consideration, and all of our franchise owners and elder care advisors are trained in depth to do those detailed analysis of every situation, and it is unique to everyone's circumstances.
Well, I want to, we're coming up on a break, and it's hard to believe it. Time goes by really fast, and I've got Jennifer and Dustin here, and they really haven't said anything but say hello. So I want to take a break, and I want to talk a little bit when we come back. I want to talk about you being an RN And I want to talk about your creation of assisted living locators, because this is something you gave birth to. Did you say it was 13 years ago? 13 years ago. Wow. So we're having a coming out party when we come back. You're listening to Health Futures, Taking Stock in You. I'm your host, Bob Roth, and I got assisted living locators here in the studio. Angela Olea, I've got Jennifer Ramirez, and I've got Dustin Baker, and we are going to take a break. We'll be right back.
If you've ever thought about investing in real estate, but you haven't because you just aren't interested in the typical hassles and headaches of real estate, then don't touch that dial. For over a decade, Investment Property Experts has been helping investors take advantage of the growing Metro Phoenix real estate market through a unique offering of turnkey real estate investment services. Investment Property Experts eliminates the hassles and headaches by providing a full inventory of single-family homes that are fully renovated and occupied with tenants. IPX manages the property for you during the time you own it, and when the time comes, they can help you get it back on the market and facilitate the sale, all at no additional cost to you. And if you'd rather not purchase and own investment properties, Investment Property Experts offers a 9% return through deed of trust investment programs. Real estate market conditions in Phoenix have never been better. And with Investment Property Experts on your side, you'll be able to diversify into profitable real estate investments right from day one. Investment Property Experts, your true one-stop shop for real estate investing success. Get started by visiting azipx.com.
In the blink of an eye, they're applying for college, getting married, buying their first home, raising your grandchildren, and just how you're always with them on every step of their journey. Alaris will be right there with you on yours. See how Alaris does banking, mortgage, retirement, and wealth management differently at Alaris.com, or stop by and talk with us today.
Where will you be when the dust settles?
How do you feel, sir?
Dust storms are a year-round threat in Arizona. If you get caught in a dust storm, pull completely off the roadway. Turn your lights off, set your parking brake, keep your seatbelt on, and wait it out. It won't be long. Where will you be when the dust settles? That's up to you. Do the smart thing, do the safe thing. Pull aside, stay alive. Visit az511.gov for road conditions before leaving your house. Sponsored by ADOT in partnership with the Arizona Broadcasters Association and this station.
This Saturday, come into Village Inn for their Chicken Fried Frenzy. When you buy one chicken fried steak entree, you'll get another free. Only this Saturday, only at Village Inn.
Now back to Health Futures, taking stock in you. If you have questions about your own or your loved one's future health care, call 602-264-8009. Now, here's your host, Cypress HomeCare Solutions, Bob Roth.
Welcome back. You're listening to Health Futures. My name is Bob Roth. I'm your host. And if you missed the first segment, I got assisted living locators in the house. I got Angela Olea, I've got Jennifer Ramirez, and I got Dustin Baker here to my left. And we're talking about placement, senior placement, and we're talking about this amazing business that Angela gave birth to. So if you missed the first segment, which was a really important segment, go up to our website at cypresshomecare.com. You can catch that segment and catch about 160 others that we've been bringing to you now for 4 years. So, Angela, I'm going to pivot right back to you. You and I have known one another for a few years. I was there, basically when you got started. So this RN has this dream. Walk us through this, how this all came about, because you were a clinician for a number of years, and you had this vision. How did assisted living locators come to be?
Well, and my background, registered nurse, and I had been working at Scottsdale Healthcare, Osborne, now Honor Health. And one of the frustrations many years ago was working with seniors and discharging, and they frequently came right back to the hospital. And it was just frustrating that they didn't have the support services. There was a missing piece of the puzzle from hospitalization to going home or going to a home-like environment. And out of that frustration, I began to look at layer after layer of what are those support systems out there, and recognize that there was not a reliable navigator, an educated navigator to really work with the families and walk them through all of the options, so they had a contingency plan or a discharge plan in place that would really support them the way they needed to be supported. And I had an idea and talked back then. My dad was one of the, who's since passed, was a key influencer. He was an entrepreneur and had a moving business, and just talked with him about this dream that I had. And my mom was a registered nurse, and they helped me, guide me through what, to really follow my dream. And if there's a need, which there evidently was a need, I began exploring that and launched Assisted Living Locators in 2003. And the support and the feedback from the families that we served was amazing. And I began to get calls from all over the United States to find out how this could be duplicated. And so in 2006, I launched Assisted Living Locators nationwide and started franchising. I was the first franchise in the United States for assisted living placement and referrals. And now we have 66 franchise owners nationwide that duplicate the process working with the families. And it's an amazing gift that was spawned by a desire to really be that missing piece of the puzzle and be that support for the family and help them transition into the care that they needed.
I love that you dreamed and you followed your dream. You had great support from your mom and dad. Your dad, being an entrepreneur, gave you that entrepreneur spirit. You don't usually find that with clinicians. And 66, I didn't know it was that many now. Wow.
Yep, 66 and growing.
Well, I'll tell you what, you are to be commended. They're around the country, right?
Yep, West Coast to East Coast.
And just so our listening audience knows, this show is broadcasted across the country through the World Wide Web at moneyradio1510.com. So if anybody's interested, you didn't ask me to pitch it, but if anybody's interested, call 1-800-267-7816.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yep.
I'm up on their website. It's really cool. So it's assistedlivinglocators.com. I'm not going to spell it out. It's just as it sounds, assistedlivinglocators.com. So I'm going to pivot just over to my left, your right, and say, Jennifer Ramirez, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Tell us what you do for Assisted Living Locators.
So I've been a medical social worker for 12 years, and I worked through the Altex plans, and I got exposed to this about a year ago, and there was so much of an opportunity to work with a different population besides Altex, because there's like 2,000 care homes in Arizona, and Altex only helps a portion of them, and just getting exposed to some of the other creative ways that people want to take care of our seniors has been eye-opening, and it is a pleasure to work with a family who has never met anybody that is willing to help them out with the struggle and the stress that goes with having to pick a permanent home. And what I love about Assisted Living Locators is that we help people even that we aren't going to make any profit on. And that's consistent among all of the people. We help people that are on Altex. We help people that are in the community that just need resources. And so I get to be a social worker this way, and it's a much more expansive way. And it fills me with gratitude to get to see these care homes and the families.
Jennifer, you mentioned Altex, and I said it in the first segment. I just want to make sure our listening audience knows that's Medicaid for our state. Mm-hmm. Which managed care organization did you work for?
I have worked for 3 of them. I was at Mercy Care for 5 years.
I know your name from Mercy Care.
I referred to Cypress all the time
because
you do great. So I always use them to call, because you would have families during the time that I worked there from 2003 to 2008 I could rely on calling you guys for my Phoenix population. So they were great. And then to Scan Health Plan, I worked there until they closed. And then more recently was at United Healthcare, and then left them to come over and do Assisted Living Locators full-time as a franchise owner in Phoenix. And it's been a blessing.
Well, I'll tell you what, I love the passion. It just is oozing out of you. And I mean, you must really love doing what you do. And I know you love helping families. And really, families struggle. I mean, when they really sit down and you think about it, here they are, towards the end of their life, and they have additional needs, and for many reasons, whether it's monetary, whether it's physical, whether it's emotional, whether it might be a disease they're dealing with, they just can't live at home. So it's really nice that this is an option for families to be able to contact Assisted Living Locators. It's a free service, and like you said, eHarmony. I mean, you're matching people's personalities, their needs with the homeowner or group homeowner or assisted living location that can fit those needs. So very cool. And we met. I never really maybe actually physically met you, but I know we've talked on the phone, and it's great having you here on the show.
Thank you.
So just to my left and to your right is Dustin. Hey, Dustin, what's up?
Hey, how's it going?
Going pretty good. Gulf War veteran, thank you very much for your service. So,
well, not Gulf War, Iraq.
Iraq War, sorry, Iraq War. Iraq War veteran, thank you for your service. Tell me a little bit about what you're doing with assisted living locators. You're a franchise owner?
Yes, sir. I own the Chandler Sun Lakes Tempe franchise.
Wow. Mm-hmm. What a robust market with need.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Especially that Sun Lakes area.
Definitely.
Well, tell us why you got in this business. We know Jennifer's story. I'd love to hear your story, why you got into it.
So I completely fell into this industry. Like you said before, I was a combat medic deployed to Iraq in 2011 with a field artillery unit. Then I went over and my unit disbanded, and I went to William Beaumont Army Medical Center, where I was administrative supervisor to same-day surgery, ambulatory surgery center, and diversified outpatient care. I got full custody of my daughter and got out of the military, and that was in May 22nd of 2014. And I was searching all around to find a administrative position similar to what I had in the military. Found out really, really quick that you needed to have that BA and business management, healthcare administration, have an LPN or RN licensure to be able to operate what I was doing in the military. So I went back to school full time, and I took a caregiving position actually at one of our local assisted living communities. Did that for 8 months, and also was a unit clerk in their skilled nursing facility. And then briefly actually did some marketing for a non-medical home care agency such as yourself. And then I met a franchisee, Rochelle Haviland, who owns the East Side franchise. She took me underneath her wing and taught me everything she knows. It was great, and it was my introduction into assisted living locators. I ended up shifting over and working directly underneath Angela Olea for 1 year. And then in September, I ended up purchasing the franchise for myself.
So tell me, what was it like working under Angela Olea and her tutorship for that 1 year? You've learned obviously a lot about the business.
It was really good. I can't believe how much knowledge she's poured into me, for sure. Enough that I've done the highest ranking placements for assisted living locators as of January.
Whoa!
For the entire franchise. So it obviously
Give me Nux.
paid off that I was working directly underneath Angela.
Well, she's taught you everything you know, but not everything she knows.
Exactly.
I imagine that, but very cool. And again, just like Jennifer, it is oozing out of you. I mean, you really love what you do, don't you?
Absolutely.
You love helping those families.
I couldn't see myself doing anything else. I definitely feel like I found my niche, for sure.
Angela, you're blessed to have found two outstanding franchisee owners, and I imagine that there's such a criteria that you put together in terms of what you're looking for. And obviously, like us with caregivers, you're probably looking for heart first. You're looking for passion. Tell us a little bit about how you select franchise owners.
As you described it, it has to be seniors have to be number one in a love of working with that population, and it has to be, especially with my nursing background, seniors come first in that caregiving. So wide variety of people that are franchise owners with one common thread, and it's a love of what they do and want to give back to the community.
Well, it's hard to believe it's halftime. We're up against a break. You're listening to Health Futures. I'm your host, Bob Roth. We'll be right back.
As we reach the bottom of the hour, we pause for a look at the world's news. Then we're back with Money Talk. We're Money Radio 1510 AM and 105.
President Trump promised today to announce additional steps next week to improve U.S. security. He also predicted he will prevail in the federal court case over his currently suspended travel ban.
We will continue to go through the court process, and ultimately I have no doubt that we'll win that particular case.
Japan's Prime Minister Shinzo Abe is in Washington today, and after an Oval Office meeting with President Trump, he made a pitch for trade partnerships to replace the U.S. abandoned TPP. Mr. Abe's interpreter.
In Asia Pacific, where we see dramatic growth, to expand free trade and investment, this will be a big chance for both Japan and United States. But of course, it must be done in a fair manner.
The fire is mostly out, and people are returning to 60 evacuated homes after an oil pipeline exploded in southern Louisiana. Several workers are being treated for injuries, and one is missing. The pipeline near the small town of Paradise, west of New Orleans, now shut down. I'm Michael Toscano.
Katie, where's your Jergens? My lotion? Here in the shower. In the shower? I use Wet Skin Moisturizer from Jergens. It's a lotion that works with water to instantly lock in moisture from my shower. My skin stays soft and luminous all day without a heavy, sticky feel. It's all-day moisture made simple.
Well, I did always teach you to enjoy the simple things in life. Can I borrow your Jergens Wet Skin Moisturizer?
Of course, Mom.
You're more than just a pretty face. Jergens.
Hi, this is Maury Moreland Morrison, here to tell you Geico has more than just great savings. Much more. Yes, while Geico could help you rack up more moolah faster than you can say metamorphosis, they've also been the fastest growing auto insurer for more than 10 years. That's more like it. Furthermore, Geico has fast and friendly claim service. That might seem like an oxymoron, but it's not. All the more reason to say no other auto insurer has more than Geico. Geico. Expect great savings and a whole lot more.
The leader in business news is the station you can take with you wherever you go. Get the Money Radio app for your smartphone and stay connected.
Sharing the financial responsibility as a couple can be a challenge. That's why it's important for couples to communicate about their finances. Learn things every couple should know when saving and preparing for retirement on this week's My Smart Retirement with certified financial planner Nancy Fleming. What should you be doing with your spouse in order to have a successful retirement? Not sure? Then tune in this Saturday morning from 10 to 11 for My Smart Retirement with CFP Nancy Fleming right here on Money Radio.
Valentine's Day is next week, and I have an amazing deal from Sherry's Berries. Right now, you can get their giant, juicy, gourmet dipped strawberries starting at $19.99. Listen, these berries are huge and come freshly dipped in dark, white, and milk chocolatey goodness, and covered in toppings like chocolate chips and nuts, all starting at $19.99. But hurry, this offer expires soon. The only way to get this amazing deal is to go to berries.com, click on the microphone in the upper right corner, and use secret code 9000. Berries.com, code 9000.
As a woman, how I feel as I age is really important to me, and I found a place that can help me feel, function, and look better. Scottsdale Center for Women's Health.
Hi, I'm Dr. Bert Webb.
And I'm Dr. Russell Bartels, and we're medical experts with over 3 decades of helping women with hormone optimization, non-surgical and surgical vaginal rejuvenation, which treats vaginal laxity, dryness, painful intercourse, decreased sexual sensitivity, bladder control, and much more.
They changed my life. They can change yours. Check out these amazing docs at loveprocedure.com.
On the right side of the trade, we correctly identified several of the market turning points over the last few years. We predicted that oil and gold prices were likely to remain low, and that world growth and company earnings were likely to deteriorate, and we were right on all counts. We now believe the stock market could be in for a significant drop in 2016. Learn to both protect yourself and profit, even when the market falls. Check out Online Trading Academy's The Right Side of the Trade, Thursdays and Saturdays at noon on Money Radio 1510 and 99.3.
Check out A&D Barbershop and pamper your face with the Royal Hot Towel Shave. Visit adbarbershop.com or call 602-265-1556. Open 7 days a week.
I'm Bruce Vail with Your Money Now. The cost of imported goods surged in January for the third time in 4 months, and they are climbing at the fastest pace in 5 years, mostly because of rising oil prices that are nudging U.S. inflation higher. The government said import prices rose 0.4% last month, following a 0.5% increase in December. Over the past year, prices have risen 3.7%. However, if you take fuel out of the equation, import prices actually declined in January and are flat over the last year. Bank of America sees consumer demand for gasoline dropping this year as people buy more fuel-efficient vehicles to save money. The bank also believes we'll drive fewer miles, contributing to the drop in demand for gasoline. On Wall Street, stocks are pushing further into record territory. The Dow Jones Industrial Average is up 116 points, while the Nasdaq Composite is ahead 25 points. That's Your Money Now.
How's that kitchen remodel coming along?
I haven't found a reliable contractor and have no idea where to start.
What about Home Advisor?
Home what?
Home Advisor. They match you to pre-screened and top-rated pros for any kind of home project. You can even check pricing and book appointments online.
What's the catch?
No catch. Home Advisor is completely free to use.
Really? I'll check it out.
Go to HomeAdvisor.com or download the free app.
Home Advisor. An economic boom is coming. Don't let your business get left behind. If you need to build, call General Steel today. Steel prices are expected to rise, but you can still lock in your price on a General Steel building. You can still get an 80-foot by 150-foot building for under $99,000. That's right, 12,000 square feet for under $99,000. Don't let rising steel prices put your project out of reach. Call 866-95-STEEL. 866-95-STEEL. That's 866-957-8335.
Now back to Health Futures, taking stock in you. If you have questions about your own or your loved one's future health care, call 602-264-8009. Now, here's your host, Cypress Home Care Solutions, Bob Roth.
Welcome back. You're listening to Health Futures. I'm your host, Bob Roth, and we are on our third segment. I've got assisted living locators in the house. I've got Angela Olea, the leader of the assisted living locations company, if you would. She's the CEO and founder, and she's also a registered nurse. And over next to Angela is Jaye Ramirez, and I knew the name. We've got some history together. You're a social worker. You're passionate about helping our older adult population find a place to live when they can no longer live at home. Your stories are incredible, both where you're at now as well as what you've done previously. And just beside Jennifer is Dustin Baker, and Dustin is a new franchisee owner and number one in the organization out of 66, right? Number one, right? Number one, give it here.
Broke records, yeah.
And you've only been doing it for less than 2 years, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, there you go. Talk right into the mic, sir. All right, so I want to talk a little bit about how we're able to help these families. How it's interesting because the home care business, and I've talked about it here on the show, this industry is more like 25 to 30 years new, because what we're dealing with is something that is still relatively new. And what is it we're dealing with? We're dealing with the graying of our society. And I've talked about it here on the show, and I want to share it here with our listening audience and my guest here today, Dr. Ken Dykewell. Wrote an incredible book called The Age Wave back in 1986. Dustin, you probably wouldn't remember that, but
I was born in 86.
There you go.
Like
not. I said, you probably wouldn't remember that, but in 1986, he predicted what we're going through right now. And what are we going through? It's really an age shift. And when you really sit down and you think about it, 2/3 of the people that live on this planet, and I'm talking about Mother Earth, that are walking this planet today, 2/3 of the world's population that has ever lived to the age of 65 is walking on it today. I mean, that, try to package that and comprehend that. So, we're only 5 years into an 18-year period where baby boomers are turning 65. So we got another 13 more years. And as I've had some of my guests on the show talk about it, it isn't an epidemic, it's pandemic, and we have to be ready for it. And my industry, being home care, in-home care services, is relatively new, 25 to 30 years. And your industry, and I look at you, Angela, is about the same, maybe even newer. It's probably, your company's in its 14th year, but the industry is about that old. I mean, at least the franchise industry, you're the leader of that, and that didn't happen till, when did you guys start franchising?
2006.
2006. So, it's only 11 years, and you were the very first.
Right.
So it really is something that has happened, and it's a movement that is happening, and it is so nice that we have people like you guys navigating and helping people find solutions to being able to live out their lives meaningfully and being able to live within their means. And I love that eHarmony analogy, because it really does take a really good fit, and you have to know and understand the needs of your client, and certainly you guys do a great job of profiling and knowing the locations that they could go to. So I want to talk a little bit about, because at the break, Jennifer, we were talking about the paying for it, and that's sometimes a challenge, but you have stories where you've been able to talk to your franchise or your clients and be able to find good places for them and being able to unpackage what their financial restrictions or limitations are.
Yes, so in the past week, I've gotten the opportunity to work with someone who had pre-planned and purchased their own insurance and paid throughout their life. And this particular woman, she has whatever she wants on the menu. So she lives at a wonderful facility in Phoenix, and she's choosing to go somewhere because she wants to live somewhere with an indoor pool. And that's a great place to be in, where you can pick whatever you want off the menu like that. And then I had another client to visit this week, and their income is $1,400, and that's Social Security income and then a little bit extra that they have. So what the difference is between those two families is one care home I'm going to be asking a favor to and saying, can you take this person for me, because this is not a big income, and you're going to have to I'll have to give you another person who's going to be able to have a better income, because they have to afford their expenses and their caregivers. And the other, it is she can have the world is her oyster. So it's just a great thing to get to work with a population who has chosen to pay for like private long-term care insurance, which is different than the state Medicaid plans. Mm-hmm. And for the rest of her life she's covered. So it makes a huge difference.
It does. And I would imagine, Angela, you see all kinds, in terms of what they can afford and where you can place them. And certainly you base that on that assessment that you talk about, that right up front. You really are able to diagnose and know what they're looking for and then making that fit.
Part of what makes us, with our franchise, having the boots on the ground is that what you described is that our owners, our advisors, really know the properties that they're working with. They know the details, the ins and outs. And as Jennifer described, that in working with some of the homes, we know where someone would be a good fit, although their budget may not accommodate what they're asking. Literally, it's probably, just pennies per hour if they were paying an hourly rate. So it's not enough to truly cover, but it's what we do. It's what we're good at. We really want to serve our clients, and we know a certain number are going to be those that truly don't have the funds, and we want to be the resource and point them in the right direction to where they can get. We're blessed that we do live in a state that does provide, where our state Medicaid does pay for assisted living if they meet those qualifications. And in many of the states that I work with, it doesn't. Nursing home is the only option. And so we work, and we're blessed in this area that we do have small assisted living properties that are homes nestled in all different neighborhoods, from the most modest to the most extravagant to the large communities. So a whole menu of option, especially in Arizona, that we have to work with. But again, the boots on the ground, knowing the details of each property. And when we work with families, we personally guide them through the process. So we handhold as much or as little as they want us to, from writing together and exploring the opportunity together of the different properties and all the amenities that they offer and the care that they can, and answering those questions. That was one of my questions I was going to ask you is, do you give them just a list of places to go to, or do you actually take them on a tour? How does that work?
Oh, no, we definitely physically go and tour with them. And I can't say that we haven't ever had to give somebody a list. We may be very, very busy with another client, like, oh, no, it's emergent. We need something now. And I have done that in the past before. But 9 times out of 10, no, we're going to meet to do that physical assessment, understand their needs, and then we're going to physically show up to these facilities with them, explain the differences between these facilities or communities or residential homes, whatever they may be, and find out what that right fit is, because they may not know the questions to ask necessarily when they're there, and we're able to uncover a lot of things, being there in person with them, that can sometimes completely change what we originally thought when we did that initial assessment.
Well, what's interesting is that you mentioned when there's an urgency, mm-hmm. and I'd love to get an idea, what percentage of the phone calls you get or where you have to just drop everything to help these families? Do families typically plan? I mean, they say, you know what, I've got a month to go find a location, or you got days, or you got hours.
Yeah, I wish that was the case. Typically, it's not. Usually, we're getting that last-minute call, so-and-so's discharging in 2 days from a skilled nursing facility, and it's not a safe discharge to go back home. We need to find some care options. And obviously those people with, a huge amount of financial assets don't have as much of a difficulty in finding, they could go on Google and type in a zip code. Where I think we really shine is having those folks who have a really high care need, but might not necessarily fit into that bigger community model. That's going to be too expensive for them. So I think that's a huge majority of clientele that we get are those kind of middle ground budget that they're having a hard time paying for that higher level of care.
Perfect. Little Coldplay taking us out. Third segment, and you are listening to Health Futures Taking Stock in You, and I've got assisted living locators here in the building. It is Friday, February 10th, a beautiful day in Scottsdale, Arizona. Coming at you live from the Scottsdale Air Park. Money Radio Studios, I've got Angela Olea, the President, CEO, founder of Assisted Living Locators, Jennifer Ramirez and Dustin Baker, our franchise owners. And if you want to call 1-800-267-7816 if you're interested in a franchise. We're up against a break. We'll be right back.
Right after Business for Breakfast, right after the news on Money Radio, tune in Mastering Money with Wealth Manager Steve Jurich and the doctors Sinclair No. Learn about cutting-edge retirement investment strategies, Social Security optimizing, and RMD strategies. Guests on Mastering Money have included Steve Forbes, Larry Kudlow, and the one and only John Bogle, the founder of Vanguard. Join the A-Team, Steve and Sinclair, mornings Monday through Friday at 8. And now, download the Mastering Money app for your Apple, Android, and Windows devices.
Hello, Steve here with Z-Cleaners. Where do other dry cleaners go when they need help cleaning a garment? They go to Z-Cleaners, the only certified couture care dry cleaning company in Arizona. When you're looking for a dry cleaner to care for your designer or bespoke clothing, choose the dry cleaner that other cleaners choose. Give us a call today at 602-CLEANER or find us on the web at zcleaners.com. Remember, choose the dry cleaner other cleaners choose. Z-Cleaners. Excellence always.
What's the secret to getting ahead and having a more successful life? This week's lineup:
the creator of Bikini Luxe, who famously took on the establishment, LinkedIn. An event planner, AmyMancuso.com. The founder of the place that inspired a movie, Coyote Ugly. And the brain doctor, a clinical psychologist with SmartBrainAging.com.
Alliance's Heroes. Unmask the secrets of heroes in business every Thursday at 9 a.m. with David Kogan.
Are you a business owner? Are you maximizing the internet and social media to grow your business? Then you need to check out Money Radio's premier technology show, Fast Turtle's Digital Pros with Eric Olson and Graham Ware. These two digital wizards will educate and give you the latest information on all things digital, social media, SEO, PPC, and digital engagement. This is the future. Don't miss out. Tune in every Wednesday at 9 for Fast Turtle Digital Pros right here on Money Radio 1510 AM and 105.3 FM.
This Saturday, come into Village Inn for their Chicken Fried Frenzy. When you buy one chicken fried steak entree, you'll get another free. Only this Saturday, only at Village Inn.
Now back to Health Futures, taking stock in you. If you have questions about your own or your loved one's future health care, call 602-264-8009. Now, here's your host, Cypress Home Care Solutions, Bob Roth.
Welcome back. You're listening to Health Futures. I'm your host, Bob Roth, and if you're just tuning in, we're in our fourth segment. If you want to catch the first three, go up to our website at cypresshomecare.com and click on the radio button. You can catch the first three segments of our show today, and you can catch about 160 others. And if you are just tuning in, I've got Assisted Living Locators here in the studio. I've got the founder and CEO, Angela Olea. We heard about her story in the second segment, so if you missed it, please tune into that segment. She's got a great story, a clinician and an entrepreneur at heart, and had a lot of a lot of incentive, a lot of support from her father and her mother to get into this field. And I've got Jennifer Ramirez just over to her right, my left, and she is a social worker by trade and got into this space because she just has so much passion for our older adult population. And as does Dustin Baker, who's number one in their franchise. I got the number one guy here to my left, so hopefully some of that magic dust will rub off on me. But way to go, Dustin. Doing a great job. He is a Iraqi war veteran, and he's been a franchise owner for just about a couple years now and understands our space because he was in the in-home care service business. So we really want to talk about, as we conclude our show here today, it's hard to believe we're on our fourth segment, but as we conclude our show, I want to talk about some of the things that are going on out there, some things to be aware of, and also talk about some of the innovations that are going on, because I think Assisted Living Locators is that innovator. You've done some really phenomenal things. So please, Angela, tell us some of the pitfalls that some people go into, because the internet is a vast space and everybody likes to ask Google for things. What would you recommend or forewarn some of the people out there that are listening in that may be looking for places for their loved ones to live?
Bob, that's I'm glad that you pointed that out. For oftentimes when people are looking, the first thing they will do is go to search on the internet, and the families will find that in the top segment of what they're looking for, it may have different names when they type in assisted living, but they get one or two companies that it's often misleading, and it's internet-based companies that have never stepped foot in any of the properties that they're out there. And they basically are sending this vast list of everything within a vicinity. And again, it may be somebody in another state across country that's providing this assistance. And so what happens is that the families are bombarded with phone calls and emails from 10, 12 people contacting them from that one search from the online company disseminating their information. And so it oftentimes we get that crisis phone call of, oh my gosh, what did I do? Because if they can have a boots on the ground option that personally knows those properties, hands down, they would choose our support.
Absolutely. And I think I know one of the companies you're talking about, and we won't mention their name, but many, many years ago, and I'm talking about 12 years ago, 13 years ago, we subscribed to them. And you know what? We would call because we would get these leads. And we'd be one of 15 people calling them. And we thought we had an agreement with them, and we thought we were, and even if, as we know on the internet, things come hot, you got to respond right away. And we'd find out we were like the 12th or 15th person that's called, and then we just continue that arrangement. From a home care agency owner standpoint, I appreciate having the ability to work with your assisted living locator franchises for the reason you mentioned. They understand, they know these properties, they know these communities. And like you said, that eHarmony match, that person is going to be taken care of. Because, I want our listening audience to hear this. Not everybody can stay home. And home is a great option. And home care is typically, it is very affordable. But there comes a time when home is no longer safe for the person to live. Whether they're dealing with a disease, whether they've got physical or emotional limitations. And we often call you guys because we know that homeowner that we've been serving, whether it be for 6 months or 6 years, is going to be in good hands. And that's really what it's all about. It's about really helping our older adult population navigate to the best solution to meet their needs. So I'm going to look over at Jennifer and Dustin. You may be the one to answer the question, but I'm going to elicit their participation. Innovations, stuff that Assisted Living Locators has done beyond the website searches, but you guys have some really cool tools out there for your clients to use. Angela, I don't know if you're the best to answer that one, but if you are, please fire away.
One of the things that we're really proud about is we do have an online assessment tool. If someone is just searching for what type of care do they need and they're not ready to talk to one of our advisors just yet, they can go online and do a quick assessment tool and they will get a score. Another option that's offered is they can do a virtual tour. If they can't get out and look at properties, we can bring the tour to them. And one step further is we've even have advisors that will do virtual tours with the family, FaceTime tours, and I'll let Dustin, who's taken that, take over with what he's done.
Of course, the kid, right? The kid that was born in 1986. He understands technology. Whenever anything breaks in our office or my home, I always refer to the kids to help me with the technology. So tell us a little bit about the online tours, the virtual tours that you take people through.
Sure. So I'll get that call from somebody and they're frantic. Again, this is our emergent situation. So-and-so's discharging in 3 days, and the only family members are, in Minnesota or Chicago. And financial is already an issue, because we're looking for, probably maybe a lower budget situation, right? And so to have for the family to have to come up with that money to get into a care home and get the flight out here and whatnot, it could be a real burden. So I've offered them to do a FaceTime tour. It's like as if they're there. They're able to ask questions to the care home owner, to myself, to the care staff, and really see the layout of the home and everything, which has been really successful. I've probably done it about 6-7 times for different folks that are out of state. And
all right, I'm going to ask you the sales question. The 6 or 7 times, what was your close rate?
So 6-7 times.
100%.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. 100%.
Really nice. And I think that's the world we live in today, and especially since most of the people that you're dealing with are older adults. They're baby boomers, like me.
Yep.
Yeah, so they're looking for resources, and it's nice that you're able to utilize those tools.
In fact, I just did one recently last week for a gentleman, and I had placed his mother in an independent living situation because that had seemed what it was going to be the best fit for her, and she's just not doing all that great right now. She's not participating in going down to the dining facility and things like that. So he's like, I really wouldn't want to come down to tour some other facilities, but I just can't make it out there. We need to look at future options for maybe a couple months down the road. Said no problem, and we did a FaceTime tour for 3 separate facilities last Friday.
Awesome. Absolutely awesome. So we're about ready to wrap up our show. I want to give you guys all a few seconds to say any final thoughts. I gave out this number, 1-800-267-7816, and it's about services. It's not just franchises. If you're looking for placement, call that number, and you'll be directed to the local assisted living location operation.
One final thought I'd like to leave is get a contingency plan in place. It's no cost or obligation to you, but it's better to have a plan and not need it than need it and not have it.
I love it. How about you, Jennifer? Any final thoughts?
Truly, don't waste your time. Knowing the communities that are out there means that sometimes I can give someone 2 options, and they're so well thought out. Who's got the piano? Who's got more women than men?
We're out of time. I'm sorry, Jennifer. Thank you for being on the show. Make it a great day. Have a great weekend. You've been listening to Health Futures.
There's no place like home. You've been listening to Bob Roth's Health Futures. If you have questions about your own or your loved one's future health care, call Cypress Home Care Solutions at 602-264-8009. That's 602-264-8009. Or visit CypressHomeCare.com. Be sure to join Health Futures with Bob Roth every Friday at noon, right here on Money Radio 1510 and 105.3 FM.